everybody and happy Wednesday, and I'm here with my backgrounds for block 2. So I'm here with the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, and it's getting exciting. We're on to block 2 now. I got a bit carried away here. I decided I'm going to do 2 blocks because I got a stamp for a lovely bunch of daffodils. I love daffodils, and I thought really the yellow big daffodil next to me bunny, so I've decided to do 2. So I've got my daffodil page over. I'll show you that in a minute. So as soon as I knew last week that it was plain backgrounds, neutral tone, shall we say. So what I've done here is I've laid down, there's a great big piece of hemp, and the big thick pieces of fabric that I did get from Rachel, and I've layered that up, and you can feel all the textures in it. You know, I'm a texture girl, so it's got to be textured. I love the fact that this piece has got, you know, where it was sewn back in the day. I think it's a bit of feed sack, should I say, there. And then under that, I've put a little bit of calico and muslin that is our own avocado dyed with some fringing, because, you know, I love to put my fringings and scratty bits on. I've got a layer of lace, so it's in a layered level down there. This, I liked this edge. I wanted to leave it like this on purpose. It is the edging, very thick edging from this old piece of vintage stuff. Again, this is from Rachel, and I just liked the fact, so I've sewn it like that. I just like the fact it gives it a bit more texture. And I have done all invisible sewing on here, so all invisible sewn on to keep it in place. And then I couldn't stop, so that I've put a flower on here, another stamped flower, so that's given it a bit of a raised texture there. In the middle I've put a same piece, a scratty piece of this Hessian fringe in the middle, give that a bit of texture. Some French knots with some thick perlé. I've done some bullion knot, oh, my needle just fell over then. Bullion stitches there in different colours, and then I just started doing a little bit of the detached chains and some little knots there. And then I thought, no, crikey, I haven't even shown you my background. I'm getting carried away. So that's where I am at with this piece. And this is obviously going to be my main flower. I have got another small one like that I might put in, but this is going to be the main flower. And these, in actual fact, are poppies. I mean, they're poppies and daffodils, 2 of my favourites. And so that's what that's going to be, with all different reds and things in that. And then, so over the page, in a complete contrast, is my pale colours are cream, and this is some cheesecloth. Nearly said cheesecake then. Cheesecloth that's got a variated dye to it that I bought from Natalie Stewart at Yarn and Fibre. And it's very neutral background, and I thought that that went nicely with this stamped out. So I've stamped on some hemp, the daffodil stamp on there. And then what I've done is I've picked out a few, because I fancy the layering look to all this. You know, I may well start putting some dangly bits on here or something. You've got the layering pieces there. So I have a few things to try, which I may well use. I don't know yet. I may well use this. So if that's up there, I may well put that now. Wants to be on top, that, doesn't it? got a bit of sewing on that, and that's quite neutral in with it. And then I've got this, which I love that raggedy edge, do you? I'm going to pull that up there a bit. I've not cut it level on purpose. And I'm really liking that. I don't think we need as much burlap still on the edge of that. You know, I save all my edgings for just this purpose, because they make a lovely addition to the edge. That's that on there. I'm going to pull that up a bit more. That's it. Pull that up slightly more. I like that, but I didn't love it. Where's the edge of my thing there? And I really wanted to try and put this on there somewhere. You don't always have to have everything centred, do you? You know. This is our main now. I think it needs to be more central. Let's try it that way around. Put that there. And do we want that there? Put that under there. No, I don't like that one there, so it may be that we try this one. I think that's better. I think that gives us a nicer layered look. We've got the lace hanging down from the previous page, so I am going to, where's the back of this, to lock that in. I'll get another pin out, and let's just take that to there. We don't want that edge there really, do we? Okay, so again I've got this thin piece of calico, because everything's going to be, I've stuck that to the page and I don't want to. Everything can be sewn then, and then I'll glue it down to the book page. There we go. That's it. I'll do it neater when we come to do it, but I think that's what I'm liking there, rather than this piece. I like this piece. It may be that goes somewhere else, I don't know, might do. We'll see how it goes when we've got some embroidery on it. Okay, so I'm happy with that one. And then obviously we don't know what we're going to get for next month, but then I can hopefully key the tones and everything in for that page. So I thought that this went nicer on here, and that one there. Yes, I'm liking that. Two very different ones, aren't they? I've only got very small pages in this. My pages are not all that large. My piece is about 4.5 by 7, so I can easily do 2. Okay, so I've already put my background down on there, and I need to obviously fit all that into place. But what I thought we'd do today is do some more experiments, stitch experiments, and I've picked out 3 completely different wools. So we're going to be doing wool today, and I've got 3 completely different ones out, just to see what sort of effect this is. So we've got this one, and very much it's an unusual one because it is it's got viscose ribbon. So this one has got, it's so much of it is viscose ribbon, and then also it is mixed with a cotton thread. So you can see we've got the variation on there. So I've cut a strip of that off. Let's see. I wanted it where we've got a little bit of both to see how that works. We've got some eyelash wool, which I thought we'll see what sort of texture we could get out of using this. It's thinking outside the box a bit, really, isn't it? Because, you know, we're thinking along the lines of embroidery threads and flosses and 6-strand and is it perlé, is it this? But, you know, wool and different types of wool can give us very, very nice effects in our work. So I wanted to try these. And then I've got this with all these additions, shall we say. It's got, this is like a blue colour, and it's all intertwined, and then it's got these addition flecks of wool hanging off. Now that may very well give us a nice effect as well. So I think we're, seeing as I'm further along with this piece, I think we'll work on this and see. I'll move that out the way now, and we'll see what results we can get with this. So I think I'll start with this first. I'm eager to see what happens with these bits, and whether they, you know, they're going to sort of give us the effect I think we're going to get from it. I've not tried this one before for sewing purposes. I've got my great big binding needle, bookbinding needle. So I'm just going to cut that off. It's a bit of a big knobbly bit to get through the needle to start with. There we go, that's good. I think this is perhaps a little bit too long because it'll get raggedy as it goes through. So let's just put a bit of a knot on there. And let's see. I'm going to do, just going to do a line of running stitch first. See if we can get this. It may be that this won't come through easily. There's too many layers. Oh, it is. It is coming. And do quite large stitching. It's not the easiest to get through, but I tend to make a note in a little notebook as well. You know that, oh, well, I've tried this, and I usually stick a bit of wool on, because that's what we used to have to do at college when I went to do a couple of courses. Oh, crikey, that's stiff. I usually cut a bit of wool out and or whatever thread you've used, and then just put a little bit about it, you know, how you found it, how you found its texture, how it performed, you know, because you see, so far we haven't got a bit hanging over, have we, with a nice one of them nice addition bits. Oh, crikey, I'll be wishing I'd started. Ugh. Oh, we've got one. Yes. Right, okay. So out of this at the minute, we would say it's very tough to get through many layers. It is very tough to get through many layers. And I think that's a bit long, so let's give it a little haircut. So again, just keep turning your needle round and round through your fabric so it makes a big enough parting in the weave for you, and then that makes it easier to sew with. Okay. I have to say, so far with plain stitch, it's a bit, I don't know, it's not looking that spectacular, is it? I like it, but I don't love it. I was expecting more from it. There we go. We've got a bit of a tuft there, and then that's it. Okay, so I have to say that I would put, I'm a bit disappointed in it. It gives you a bit of texture, but it don't look, I mean, the wool looks a lot nicer than it performs, certainly with the straight stitch. So let's see what it looks like if we do a few French knots with it. Let's see how we will do with that. Okay, we'll just do one wrap, okay, and see how that goes. This isn't relaxing, is it? You know, you do this on a day you don't need to relax. Now, you see, I think it gives a better look with that stitch, with using that stitch. So let's just do another knot, wrap it round down nearly next to it, and we'll see. I know Ariane Zersha gets the old pliers out when she has trouble with these sorts of things. We'll try one more. I think this wool's ready for replacing anyway, because it's getting a bit tatty. There we go. Just cut that fluff off the back, and we'll just knock that off. Okay. So I think I quite like the fact that I'm a bit disappointed with it. I thought it would perform better than that, really, but I do like it when we've done the French knots with it rather than the plain stitch. So I'm just going to, we'll just have another section, see how a few more knots. I don't want to suddenly, you see, this is where you start getting problems when you, it's certainly easier to knit with, I think, than there we go. Now I'm going to trim this a bit because otherwise it's going to cause problems when we're coming through. Right, let's just try a few more and see how it sort of builds up. If we do quite a few knots in one area. Well, I forgot all that didn't go through, did it? Okay, we'll just do one more with this and then we'll go on to another. I'm finding it, you know, it's all right, but you know, for the hard work of it, is it worth it? That wasn't too bad. So it may well be okay on thin fabrics. So I just want to just test that. There we go. So those knots are really, that's one of the itty bitties there. If you want a really tufted look, that's okay. I just want to quickly see what it's like if we do it on a say for example we've got this, got a bit here. Let's just see how it performs on something a lot thinner. Yeah. So that's another thing for you to consider. Be mindful of how many layers you are pulling your wool through.
Oh.
So it may well be, yeah, it may well be that you use it on a small piece like this. That's so much easier, and I like that. You then cut that piece off, not cut it off, but you put a slither of that on your work. You know, you add it on as a, like as if you're doing a plique or something. So don't be afraid to try different fabrics. Don't give up. See, I quite like that, and I think, you know, if you're wanting to then do, you could do some stem stitch down from that. You know, so say for example, you've got it, that's all plain, and you want to, you know, you can do some invisible stitching, some stab stitching on there, and then that's a really nice textured flower. You could then come down then with a green or whatever and do some split stitch, and it would look really effective on some of the work. So I think this is one that looks far better on thinner fabrics, and I don't think you get the benefit of these dangly bits. So that's what I think of that one. But I'm liking the roughy tufty look of it on there. Okay, right, what have we got next? We've got our ribbon, and this would be good for people that do ribbon embroidery. Now I've seen Sarah has, Rachel has done some ribbon embroidery in the past. It's something I've never done before, and it looks really effective. I think Judy, you know, Judy Roxburgh does some really beautiful ribbon work. Right, okay, so I'll leave that a bit because I want to build that up a bit more and make, you know, bring in some of the colours to do it together. But I'm going to go in the middle of this big flower now, and I think I'm going to do some gold. See how this performs as a French knot, seeing as that's what we've already done as the centre. This is lovely, actually. It goes through very easily. With you, obviously you've got to use your big needle. I'm really liking this. This is giving a nice, just doing 2 wraps of a French knot on these. If you look in nature, it's just so many different colours in the, you know, if you look right into the centre of flowers, surprising what lovely effects you get. So I'm liking this, and it's actually giving it a nice texture and a bit of a shine on it, which I wouldn't have been able to get from ordinary embroidery flosses. So yes, I am liking that. I'm going to go across to the other flower. This one there, I think. French knots is my favourite. You'll always you'll always see French knots, bullion stitch. I love bullion stitch, bullion knots. I love chain stitch actually. I always have a problem with the fly stitch. Always have the problem with the fly stitch. There we go. So I've got 3 lovely knots in the middle of that. So I am liking this ribbon. Let's do some crosses. Let's see if we do some crosses in this. Trying to think where to put. Let me put one here. Put 3. We'll put a row of 3. Now I do mine like Rachel. I do mine one way and then go back the other. So all in all, I am pleased with this one, and it's nice to work with. There we go, we've got 3 crosses there. So that is that one. Now this one, I'm just trying to think where I want it, because I don't want it to I don't want the red colour in it. Let me see, have I got any other wool? I'm just having a quick look to see if I've got any other colours. In that sort of, no. Tell you what I have got though, and I love using this. I've used this before, so I love using this. This is actually paper wool. I know we can't call it, it's twine, isn't it? Can't call it wool because it's paper, but you know what I mean. I love using this. So this is really just to give you a few different ideas of things you can be using in your work. It doesn't have to, you know, you can find paper string. You might be a knitter but not got loads and loads of threads. So, you know, try some of your wools, see how they perform. Now, I am going to be brave. I'm going to see what this would look like. I'm going to do a bullion. So we go back up to where we started. I always like to get my finger there so I can hold it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's quite thick, this, so it may well be that 5 is just nice. We'll try 5. So you just hold on to that and gradually tease it through gently. Don't wrap it too tightly, otherwise that's when you'll have a problem of pulling it through. So just slowly pull through your knots like that. And then I pull this down and wrap my knots around and then you go back down very close to where you started. Now I love that. I have never ever done this a bullion with this before, so let's do another. We're doing these stamen, I think they're called stamen. Long time since I did biology, plant biology anyway. Okay, so we've come out there. This is where I want my bullion to end. This is the length of it, so I take a stitch down there and come back up right where we first started. Then I hold my finger on it, because this is how you can control where the knots go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knots we did. Hold on to this, just slowly, 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 eke it through, eke your knots through. There we go. We're just pulling them through, and then you pull them down. Make sure all your knots are all nicely in place, and then take it back down there. I am loving this. I like doing using this, but I've only really done running stitch and French knots. Okay, so I'm turning my fabric round now. I've come out there, and I want it to come out to about here. So I put my needle in where I want the length to come. Take it up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then slowly, 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 just eke it through to start with. Got too long a tail on that now. Eke it through, and then once you've done it right to the end, I then take my pull my thread back down here and just give it a slight pull like that to neaten it off, and then you go back down through your fabric. Okay, so I'll just finish these off. And then I want to use some, I'm going to use some embroidery wool then, what you use usually for needlepoint, tapestry needlepoint. Okay, so this one is going to go out there. That's the length I want from there to there. So you put your needle back down in there and up next to where you started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just carefully. Obviously the core diameter of your needle will make a difference as well in the size of the knot. So obviously if you look at these small ones here that I've done with a much finer needle, much finer thread, then you're getting very, you know, very fine filigree type look. Obviously with this paper string it's a lot thicker, and I'm using this great big book binding needle. It's my favourite thing to use at the minute, like that. And then I'm going to do one out here. Two, 3, 4, 5. You can do as many as you want of the knots, and obviously the length of what you do, you can vary that as well. Okay, so we're going to be out here. What am I doing? Yeah. I suddenly had a mental blockage then. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is probably all we're going to get out of this thread anyway. slowly eke it along like that, then gently tighten it up, tighten your knots along your thread, and take it back through. So there we have some more there. Just want to tighten that knot up a bit there. There we go. And I think that gives an interesting look. So there's your paper string. It does actually sew really nicely. I've got some pink in this. I've had it a long time, but I've got pink in that as well. Okay, so we'll do some more. I'll do more on that off camera. So let's get some tapestry wool out. I've got my anchor. I love anchor. I find that other tapestry wool splits, so it's just, you know, my favourite. And I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do that colour, and I'm going to, now the thing with these, it doesn't always happen for me, but if you, the one to pull, sometimes you pull the wrong one and you get in a right nest. It's usually the one that's in the middle, the loose end that's in the middle. Just gently tug it, and you should be able to cut a length off like that without it all going funny. Doesn't always happen for me. I don't always pull the right one, but that's the theory. So I hope that's useful. Okay then. We don't need as much as that, do we? Again, probably this needle's a bit big, but it's fine. We're going through a lot of layers here, so it's just eases, you know, it doesn't pull on your hand so much. So this is tapestry wool, and tapestry wool gives a lovely effect anyway. You can do long and short stitch. Just got 2 wraps. And it gives a really pretty looking knot. Of course you can do them not as neatly as that if you want a more straggly look, you know, not be so bothered about how tight you pull it up. But if you want it to look a neat knot, I usually take it down to the bottom, hold your thread until your needle's gone through your fabric, and then you can let go of it and slowly pull, and it gives you a really pretty knot. I'll do another one here. Oops. Slippy this needle, slippy. Okay. There we go. And there we have. Just going to do perhaps 5. It's a big flower, so it can take 5, I think. We go. So there we have the middle. So that's 3 different wools. I mean, if this was not got the red in it, if it was just the plain green, I would use it. But I think this red, I don't really want the red to be in this piece of work, and I certainly don't want it in with my daffodil. So that's fine. I can try that another day. So this is the ribbon wool thread. This is the paper string, paper fibre. And then we've obviously used this specialist wool with the dangly bits. And it just shows the different effects that you could get. Who would have thought that paper string would give you such fabulous looking bullion knots like that? So have a play around, have a look what's in your stash, have a look if you're a knitter, what wools you've got, and give them a try. You might be really surprised what a benefit it could be to your sewing and your stitchery work. So hope you've enjoyed that, hope that gives you a few hints and tips. I'm going to go off now, and I do believe that Rachel and Sarah have just uploaded their posts for today, their videos for today. So I'm going to go off now and put my feet up, cup of tea, watch what they're doing, and yeah, think about what I'm going to do for the rest of this this block. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your company, and let me know how you're doing with your blocks. Don't forget the Facebook group, Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Facebook group, and don't forget on Instagram, show your work on there, hashtag Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. We'll leave them down below anyway, just to recap, and I'll see you next video. Take care out there, bye for now.